Stage 3. For stage 3, man, I just want to bring something light. Keep the spookiness going, keep the flame lighting. But what I wanted to talk about is basically your favorite horror game. And before we get to that, how did it start? How this genre came to be? I was talking to Chris the other day when I was like just thinking about this topic, and he mentioned me, hey man, the first time I played like a horror game was Friday the 13th in the NES, and I said, man, me too. That game was like honestly the first one that I played that was like considered horror on a system that I'm talking about came out in 1982, and that game came out in 1989. I was like 7 years old when this game came out.
Dang, dude.
And I knew who Jason was. I mean, I believe every kid knew who he was. I mean, it was the scary guy in the movie with a hockey mask and a machete, and it was like killing people. So when I played this on the NES, I was scared. I was like legit scared. I was a kid, but I still was like, fuck, you know, it's gonna put this in there, and I don't know what's gonna happen. And then the freaking game did something that I never saw in a game before. It had daytime like changing. Basically the game started, you started like in the morning as a counselor, like walking around the camp trying to save these kids not to be murdered by Jason, and
throwing
then
rocks.
throwing rocks. That dude, your weapons were shit, and then it started getting darker, and all of a sudden it was nighttime, and it became more creepier. Dude, I don't know how to explain it. Back in the day, the visuals were like shitty. You can look up at this game on YouTube, you can see a video of it, but I believe most of those games back in the day, to me, were pretty much ignited by my imagination. I knew I was playing a game, but to me it was the more realistic thing ever. And when I was playing it, I was really immersed when I was playing those games.
The scariest part.
So you were shooting bricks, huh? Then when you were playing this game, dude.
No, I want to.
My friends, and he was like, "Dude, man, I just gotta hand you over the control. I cannot do this anymore." Because to me, it was creepy. It was weird.
I can tell you what, like the scariest part of that game, because that's my. And as far as I can remember, that's my first introduction to horror games. Also, like Will said, the thing that got me a lot as a kid was, you had to go into houses to find stuff to like win the game. To like you had to either find Jason's mom's scarf or Jason's mom's head, and it was basically randomly generated in a pretty decently sized maps, and that required you to go into houses. There's probably 20 houses, and the game would randomly generate you going into a house, going into another room, and then bam, Jason's right there.
Yeah.
And you're just, shit, I got the Jason room.
You never knew when that SOB was gonna come out, man. Like it could have you could be walking and he could come out. You enter a cabin, he came out. Like you were like on a fucking canoe, and he came out of the water. So that element of surprise was always there, and you basically were just always on your toes on that game. It was intense. It was great. Like I don't know how to explain. Like people had a bad memory about this game. I believe the developer of that game was it JBL, which was back in the day like infamously horrible game publisher. Like they made the worst of the worst games, mostly movie license games. Back in the day, movie license games were the worst of the worst. But that one in particular was pretty much true to the source material, like at least the mechanics. Well, I mean, with the limitations, of course. But I mean, I remember that game fondly. I was like, okay, this game does what it's supposed to do. It kind of scary a little bit, you know, like it kind of tries to surprise me and get me and have me on my toes. So to me, it was a fun game. And I don't know what to say. People might disagree with me on the internet. They're gonna lynch me probably. But to me, I mean, if we compare this to Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, this was top notch, to be honest.
That game sucks so hard. The game sucks.
And that was kind of another horror back to the basic game.
If you're talking about horror games that like got you into horror games, because I did play that when I was a kid and I got scared, but I don't think I started being interested in a video game making me scared until there's a game for I think it's either Sega Saturn or Sega Dreamcast called Fatal Frame, and you're meant to, you hold a camera and Sometimes the camera captures zombies. I don't want to talk about it too much because I know it has kind of a cult following, and I only know of it for a little bit. But I remember being like, oh, this is interesting. I kind of like the idea of a video game scaring me. After that, I mean, Silent Hill, I played a little bit. Resident Evil, a little. I mean, some. I actually, and if y'all have earlier memories, we can talk about those first. But I got more into scary like horror games as an adult, which I am 30, so I have a lot of like I was at the tail end of Five Nights at Freddy's, Outlast, the PlayStation demo PT is one of my favorite things ever. I definitely want to talk about PT at some point if we can. But I mean, before we get into initial memories and stuff,
Yeah.
I'm as much into horror as I am. I'm weirdly a late bloomer for horror games, so my stuff was a lot more new.
Okay.
Even though I've played some of the older ones. So
Me,
I don't know, Manny or Will.
After that Jason experience, I'm going a little bit more backwards. I believe Resident Evil was the thing for me. Like when it first came out on PlayStation, like to me that game was what actually made me realize that there was like a full-blown future for horror games. I don't know how to explain how that game made me feel. I believe it was probably the mansion, the gameplay, how it was basically was like pre-rendered CGI graphics, like the walls and the scenery was like pretty much pre-rendered CGI, which make it look like creepier and darker. Then the only thing that was rendering in 3D was the characters. But that makes, to me, it worked pretty well. Like it actually did what it was supposed to do. It actually got me in my toes. And I believe also the camera angles from that game made me understand that there's a future with this. I mean, I move like hindsight 2020, like you see right now, like how many entries of Resident Evil we have. But that game was huge. Like, and again, when that game came out, I bought it, I played it. We were not even expecting Resident Evil 2, but I in my heart as a kid, I knew that this is awesome. I mean, I don't know about you, Manny. What was like your first experience or your favorite horror game experience?
To be honest, it's kind of like Chris's answer in terms of like the late bloomer part. There was one that really got me into it. It was for Sega Dreamcast, and you had to play with a gun. It was House of the Dead. When you
oh my god,
dude,
House of the Dead rules.
That game was fucking awesome, dude, and that's what really got me into like the horror stuff.
Yeah.
And then, granted, I mean, I know they will pop up out of nowhere, but like just that upbeat music, just like get you like in the zone, like you're focused, you're trying to like shoot the zombies and stuff.
Shout out to Sega Dreamcast, man.
For real, man. We need a second one. I know they're gone, but dude, like
Dreamcast 2, baby.
Back, for real, man.
like I believe they were trying to emulate that from Resident Evil on those games. Although they were a little bit more arcadey and more action oriented and shooter wise.
Yeah.
Well, the Dreamcast was, not to take away from the horror, the Dreamcast is basically an arcade machine. It was built to play arcade stuff.
I played a lot of that game. I loved it. Like I usually when I went to these arcade places, that was my game. Sitting down, throwing quarters and just shooting. Yeah. For me, that was great.
No. Can I ask? I don't mean to steal from your subject.
No, man. This is discussion. Let's go.
I'm just curious. Do you guys still play horror games? And if or have you recently? And what are your I want to know what your more recent experiences with horror are.
I'll be honest with you.
Would be Friday the 13th and like the newer Friday the 13th.
The multiplayer one.
Yeah, and then Dead by Daylight. Those are the.
Okay.
Those are the two that I've been kind of playing recently. Mainly the Dead by Daylight because of my brother. He plays that a lot online, and then I'm like, you know what? Let me jump on this sucker and see what it's about. And
I mean, not recently, but I mean, again, like evolving from console to console. When I got the GameCube, to me, GameCube was Resident Evil remake, the first one remake, and I played the hell out of it. And also, they came out with Resident Evil 4. I had played 2 and 3, and
that's my favorite one, man. Well, it was my favorite one, but
yeah, like I played them both, and I was like, man, I mean, these games are amazing. I know they did a remake for Resident Evil 2, and I've been dying to play it. Haven't had the chance. I'll be honest with you. Nowadays, I'm kind of not too much into horror games. Like I usually my scare, my fright, I usually get it from movies or anime. But But back in the day, yeah, I played a lot of it. I believe the more realistic the graphics became, the more difficult it was for me to get into those games.
Mm,
I don't know how to explain it, man. Those games. I was just telling you guys about that game back on Friday 13 NES got me,
Jason.
and that was my imagination. When they left nothing to my imagination, I was like, no, man, this is just getting too extreme. And I was like, I just not down for the nightmares. I don't know, man. I kind of realized to myself that even though I know it's great gameplay and I know it's great story, I just basically gonna have a ride with it. I just wasn't down to be like just so tense for like 8 hours.
yeah,
I have
hours.
traumatized by an 8-bit,
It's,
bro.
it's
That's
just that
crazy,
gaming.
dude.
It's just that gaming is tense by itself. Like when you're playing a video game, you are pretty much a little bit tense in the matter that you don't want to be killed. So you're basically like trying to avoid. Imagine that shit plus horror on it, and for like extended period of time, because you don't play for 1 hour, hour and a half, or 2 hours like a movie is. No, you play for 4, 6, sometimes 8 hours, and it's too much, man. Like
I have a story. I have a horror game story I'd like to tell. So,
spooky story.
yeah, just a spooky game story.
It's not catching fire, man.
Yeah, you're not gonna catch on fire. So you guys both know PT, right?
PT.
It's called PT. It was a place. It was released. Hideo Kojima released a free. You don't know about PT, Will?
Oh, that demo. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
for anyone listening that doesn't know, you can't find it now because it's ripped from the store. But before Hideo Kojima left or got ripped from Konami, thank you.
Mhm.
He wanted to make a, like, I guess it was sort of meant to be like a demo teaser for the new Silent Hill that was going to come out. But they came out with a game. So a game out of nowhere. I have a story and I'll get there in a second. But so a game came out out of nowhere, just appeared on the App Store and PlayStation called PT. Stood for Playable Teaser. You didn't know that till the end. Most people will probably know about this, but for those who don't, you wake up, you're playing as a guy. The graphics are pretty badass. You see a cockroach, you walk through the door. It's one hallway. You walk to the end of the hallway and you go back through the hallway. It's the scariest game I've ever played in my entire life.
There's like a baby crying also.
It's a fetus, dude. It's the it's the scariest game. It's oh my god. So anyways,
I saw that. I saw people playing it, man, and I watched it, and it was pretty scary, man. That back to my point,
dude. So okay,
Yeah, like-
so when I played it, when I first played it, PlayStation has like a share screen feature where you could like it was like you're doing your own little like let's play party, whatever. So my friends convinced me to play in the dark at night PT. Bro, y'all don't even understand. I started crying. Like I just, that's the scariest game. It's so good. And they ripped it from my PlayStation and I wish I could have it back. But you would just turn the hall, and the way that Hideo Kojima managed to make, like Will's talking about the tension and the fear.
yeah.
I thrive for that. I love it. I'm like a kind of a weird fear junkie, which is strange because I don't like it, but I love it. It's a weird relationship. PT made me uncomfortable, and oh my god, I don't want to gush about it too much, but that is you're talking about the earliest horror game you ever played. I'm talking about the greatest one I've ever played, and I have
And that was pretty much a demo.
it was meant to be a demo for
Yeah.
a Silent Hill that'll never come out.
Yeah.
Which is
But
sad.
I mean, what I'm saying is, it's getting too real,
I
and
love that.
now with VR, man,
Oh,
I
bro,
just
dog.
cannot imagine how deep they can go. That's what scares me, because I'm at that point right now. Like I said, I'm not seeking for this thrill. Like I can play, maybe I can play a demo just to get my nostalgia, endorphins running around with Resident Evil 2. And I know I will have a great time, but it's just that extended period of time of that tension and me imagining, because freaking VR is becoming honestly super immersive, like extremely immersive. I don't know if I want to be in that world, man. I just I don't know if I'm ready. I mean,
Nah, that's a little
I'm-
too much, dog.
actually I'm gonna do it to try, because I have to try it. But me becoming a fan and doing it like just for funsies, I don't think so, man. Like I'm not that guy.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'll tell you right now, dude. If I stepped into that VR world right now with the horror game, I'll be that motherfucker that was in the mall when he was doing the thing and he like on the VR with the roller coaster and you hear him screaming and like everyone's yelling like he's yelling and everyone's like laughing at him and stuff. I'll be that dude, man.
Yeah,
like
dude.
I'm not gonna lie.
I
Man.
played some games in VR that they freaking legit. That
Yeah.
basically you were there, and I believe I played one. It was like Star Wars. You're in the ships. Well, it's not Rogue, not the new Squadrons. Although I know Squadrons is like that, but it was one demo before that one on PlayStation, dude. And that thing pretty much felt that I was on the ship. Like I was like looking around the cockpit. It felt so amazing, and because that thing kind of cover your ears for, of course, more sound immersion. Dude, imagine you trap yourself in a horror movie. That's just.
Dude, VR gives. I don't know about you, man, but if every time I played VR for more than an hour, it gives me like weird vertigo, and then it gets hot as shit too.
Same.
I don't know if that's gonna.
I don't know. They might have to make the game shorter for that type of technology, or just like a different length. I don't think it's gonna be I don't think it's gonna be like actually effective for people to be like clustered like for like 8 hours. I mean, the normal.
No, there's no way, dude.
I don't know.
You're so hot, like you get sweaty so quick.
There might be a guy that might ask for that, but to be honest with you, mostly people, I don't think they want to be trapped within that world for that long. Especially if you live by yourself at home. Like, dude, anything can happen out there, and
Dude,
you're
if I was to
basically
say,
trapped in this world.
if I was a single man living by myself, if you gifted me $1,000 VR set and Resident Evil 7 and said, go ahead and have fun, I'd be like, fuck yourself.
Yeah,
I'm
right?
definitely not playing that. There's no way.
Like, not even Resident Evil, man, anything. I have like a VR set. I'm going to get one soon, but I believe I'm going to get as a normal practice to tell my wife, hey, I'm on VR. If anything happened, come pull me out.
Seriously, yo.
Because, dude, I don't know, the house can catch on fire. You're basically fighting demons in there.
Hey, have you guys ever, so I mean, I'd love to talk about it on Stage Selects. Have you guys ever played Five Nights at Freddy's?
No.
Mm-mm.
That's just, I think we're outside of that window now where it was such a huge phenomenon for such a long time. And it's like $5 on Steam now. It used to be like 20 or 30, but
Oh, damn.
that is, that game's made by one dude. That game,
So-
all of those games are made by one dude.
Something that we haven't talked about, Chris, and this is one of your favorites,
Oh.
Doom.
For Xbox,
Oh,
right?
yes. Yeah.
Like the black X, like the first gen Xbox, that Doom. Are you talking about
I'm
that
talking
one,
about
or
any
just
Doom, man. Any Doom. Like,
the
I
one for
believe
Xbox was
Doom back in
scary
the
as
day.
shit, dude.
Yeah, Doom back in the day when it was like Super NES games. That game was creepy.
You know what?
And then
Doom
it
might
kept
have been
evolving.
Doom might actually have been my first entry to horror above original Friday the 13th because I had access to a Commodore 64 for whatever reason. Well, my uncle worked for some tech thing. Yeah, we had Doom and we had Doom early. Doom's the best. What do you? Yeah, well, let's talk about Doom.
That's the thing with Doom.
Yeah,
Doom,
man.
I don't consider Doom like survival horror. Like, Doom is mostly to me action. Like you can maybe divide
It's not
those
scary.
genres.
Doom's not scary.
It's-
Yeah,
yeah,
it is, dog. Yeah,
well-
for the beginning it wasn't scary, but like
I
if you
believe-
play the one for Xbox,
No,
that's-
man is right. In the past, I believe it was scarier than now. Now it's more like, oh my god, look at those demons. Let me just like slice them all.
I
And it's
feel
like
I don't know
really
what it
fun.
does.
It's like a roller coaster to me.
I don't
Yeah.
I don't know, and I would encourage any commenter to leave me a suggestion. I find it difficult to find any horror game scary if I have a gun that shoots, because if I have a defense mechanism, I'm not really scared.
It's more like
The-
if they throw you with a flashlight, it's like, oh no, like that.
Yeah, dude, like Alien
demo.
Isolation, you only have a flashlight. Outlast, you only have the camera.
Yeah.
You know, Friday the 13th, you only had rocks or whatever. Like, if you give me a machine gun, I'm not really scared. Like, I'll get surprised, but I have a machine gun, so it's like, I don't know. For me,
Yeah.
Doom's not scary. I don't know. It's awesome, but it's not scary.
So basically, just to wrap up, because we've been over and we don't want to basically be like a 30-minute length video. Closing statements for me and us three. Basically, I believe the horror genre will be evolving into something greater and better now with VR. I'm kind of concerned about that. I don't know if I'm going to tackle that, but since we're going to have maybe probably more specials in the future, we might pretty much try one of those. I don't know about you guys. Are you guys like looking forward to the future in horror games, or like scared about what's gonna be the next entry, like how scary it's gonna be? And so
I love horror. I can't wait for the next thing. I grab any new like anything that the public deems as to be awesome horror. I like being a little bit scared. I can't wait to see what. I mean, I'd love more.
what about you,
Totally.
Manny?
To me, man, I will give it a shot, but I will tell you this: if it gets way past my level, the black's gonna come out of me. I'm gonna put the controller down and then boop, turn off that fucking, turn off that console, dog.